Cheers.
Hi.
Yes, everyone, welcome to the 9th annual Butryms. I know it's like 6 months after the Oscars premiered. It's like every year I'm trying to set a new record for how late I can do this. But it doesn't matter, you're with me, your good pal Rob, as we partake on viewing the 9th annual Buttram Awards. That is for movies that came out in the year 2024, which is so long ago. It felt like a different time, didn't it? I don't even remember what I was doing. Nothing, probably. Which gives less of an excuse of why this took so long. So for those unfamiliar, this is just sort of the tier ranking, or unranked alphabetical ranking. There's tiers and there's ranks and there's all that jazz. There's the bronze, silver, and gold tiers, each respectively with a number of movies that gets incrementally smaller. I don't know why I'm explaining this. This seems pretty self-evident, pretty obvious. But yeah, hold on, this is a bit high. How's that? See the Dua Lipa shirt? #1 fan. Yeah? Oh yeah. Okay, so bronze tier. We all like bronze tier. Well, I like bronze tier. But this is my award show, so make your own if you disagree. Bronze tier is essentially movies that I liked. I didn't love them, but I did like them. They're among the better movies of the year. But for the interest of time, again, I'm going to try to challenge myself to only speak one sentence per movies in the bronze tier, just to expedite things a bit. Okay? Let's go. A complete unknown.
How does it feel?
There was a lot to like Johnny Cash's aura maxing and some well-crafted concert scenes, but overall it didn't leave much of an impact on me. A Quiet Place, Day 1. It's actually the best film in this series. A Real Pain. I took Kieran Culkin to Poland. Agro Drift. Director Harmony Korine is always up to something, and I've been wanting to watch this one for a while, but I still gotta sit on it. Alien Romulus. Call me crazy, but I liked it more than Scott's last outing of this series. And though it took a bit to get going, it successfully takes what you love about both Alien and Aliens and blends it into a nice Xeno cocktail. Bad Boys. Ride or Die. Honestly, I do not remember shit from this, but somehow it was on my best of the year list on Letterboxd, so I guess here it is. Blink Twice. A sleekly fun thriller that asks what would happen if Epstein Island trafficked legal-aged women instead of kids. Civil War. Mixed feelings about this one. I love the presentation, but I was kind of annoyed by the apoliticalness of it. Dahomey. A great little reflection on museums and colonialism, but maybe a bit too long for its own good. Drive Away Dolls. Second best lesbian crime thriller of the year. Grand Theft Hamlet. They done made Shakespeare in Grand Theft Auto. This movie's about a bunch of actors over COVID who attempt to stage a production of Hamlet in Grand Theft Auto Online. It's a bit too dramatized to its detriment, but I mean, hell, dude, we got a full movie in GTA Online before GTA 6. Else. What if the third impact was somehow hornier and French? Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1. Felt like a TV miniseries, but I really dig westerns, so this was a nice watch if you just chill on your sofa for a few hours. Here. Technically ambitious, though execution was a bit haphazard, but Zemeckis continues to try to push the technical borders of film, and though it's a bit melodramatic and boomer at points, it was an interesting concept overall. Heretic. Reddit atheist gets owned by epic trad Mormon girl. I used to be funny. Clapped when I saw BMV, clapped when I saw Pennies, clapped when I saw my apartment in it. I really did used to be funny. This movie's about me! In a Violent Nature. Good conceptual potential for a slasher, though the execution was a bit mixed. Inside Out 2. Okay, at this point Pixar is pretty paint by numbers, but it was still emotionally effective. Kinds of Kindness. This one was abrasively Yorgos, which is a compliment, but I didn't love it as much as his past few films. Kneecap. Chucky Our Law. Am I pronouncing that right? Chucky Our Law. Late Night with the Devil. Never lived up to the potential, but it was a great leading performance, and there was some effective mood creation. Though the AI thing, the AI aspect of it, you know, I'm not a fan, but I'm gonna let it slide this time. Just this once. Maria. Oh, Maria. Another addition to Pedro Almodóvar's tortured public women's cinematic universe, with a touching lead performance by Angelina Jolie. Monkey Man, an incredibly impressive directorial debut for Dev Patel, leads to this year's best action movie. Very John Wick-esque, actually. Very, very good. Very good. Oddity. It's a horror movie where the golem is made out of wood. Pepe. Artistically crafted movie about Pablo Escobar's hippos. It felt a bit aimless, maybe a bit too long, but there was some good stuff in here. Piece by Piece. Pharrell decided to make his docu-biopic in the style of Lego, and it does manage to make use of the concept to decent effect, making it, you know, more memorable overall than others of its ilk recently. Also, shout out to Lego Kendrick Lamar. Saturday Night. Okay, so fun fact, this was actually the 1000th film I watched for the Butryms since starting. The whole movie is set during the lead up to SNL's first episode and sort of looks at the chaotic origins of it. It's good for any fan, even if it was a bit self-aggrandizing. Snack Shack. Speaking of Gabriel LaBelle, he was pretty good in this. You know, solid coming-of-age movie set in the summer. The Bike Riders. Pretty watchable movie about a 1960s biker gang, but dude, what the fuck is Tom Hardy always doing with his voice?
I bet if I offered you to run this whole club, you'd take it in a heartbeat, right? What?
The Fall Guy. Just a fun little studio comedy rom-com about stuntmen carried by Ryan Gosling's charisma. The Last Showgirl. Gia Coppola's second movie was a bit more focused than her first, but outside of Pamela Anderson's charm and some nice cinematography, feels a bit hollow. The People's Joker. Hilarious satire. It's better than the actual Joker movie. She is truly the Harlequin. The Wild Robot. It was eco-fascist, but it was wonderfully animated. Transformers 1. Yeah, this was a fun little Transformers movie with some heart and laughs, yeah. Trap. The best part was pointing out all the parts of Cops Coliseum that I recognized. Twisters. Glenn Powell oozes charisma. Wicked. Yeah, I don't know, I liked it. Witches. Wonderfully edited and a fantastic semiotic paired to real-life struggle makes for one of the most compelling docs of the year. Y2K. A lot of people hated this one, but as someone who finds Kyle Mooney's comedy quite funny, I think I enjoyed this a whole lot more than everybody else, it seems.
We gotta win, bam, shining the light.
It's time for Silver Tier. Silver Tier, never fear, Silver Tier is here. What? Silver Tier. So these are movies that are like better than the bronze but worse than the gold. I mean, again, you guys know this. I don't know why I'm explaining it. Point is, Silver Tier movies, pretty great. Wonderful even, you could say. Not the best of the year, but very, very good to great. I really enjoyed watching all of these. I'm Still Here. With a powerhouse performance from Fernando Torres, the horrors of partisanship under Brazil's military dictatorship in the later half of the 20th century is brought to the screen, challenging us to both reflect on the realities of political violence and nostalgia for both our personal and shared pasts. Baby Girl. As a fan of Bodies, I feel like director Helena Ryan has an eye for the modern world and all of its perversions. Switching up a cliche dynamic, she asks what would happen when a girl boss CEO falls for her himbo intern, and a steamy affair ensues. Straight up, Nicole Kidman gives the best performance of the year here. Deeply funny and provoking, I feel Baby Girl was too slept on this award season. Kaku. Wow, I really enjoyed this one. It had a very eerie mood and some really thrilling scenes. Just overall a pretty solid horror movie. Dee Dee. Ooh, probably the best film on internet culture in the mid-2000s that I've seen so far. You know, growing up on all like old YouTube and, you know, early 2000s internet culture, you know, it resonated with me. Led to me really finding a lot of charm with this one, even kind of elevating it above the tropes that comes with this type of film. Escape from the 21st century. This is a Chinese action comedy that sort of is like a real-life cartoon. It starts to lose steam by the end, but overall has like a really creative and kinetic energy to it. If you liked Everything Everywhere All at Once, and even if you didn't, I would say check this one out. It feels more tonally consistent than that one, but you know, I had a blast watching it, and I feel like you might too whenever it comes out. I don't even know. I saw that TIFF last year, so who knows? Flow. This movie was made entirely in Blender, and it follows a cat going on a crazy journey. That's all I'm gonna say, but it was pretty great. Grand Tour. A blend between golden age adventure films and travel vlogging, this Portuguese movie masterfully evokes the mystique of both ourselves and the wider world. Hitman. Linklater's newest one is a nice little film about the human condition, passion, and playing dress-up. Adria Arjona and Glenn Powell, man, they have such great chemistry throughout this, just like the best chemistry of the year. They are so hot together, man. They are so fucking hot together. It's incredible. I mean, it's not like the most thematically dense movie, but it was just so tight, and I just can't get over their chemistry, man. I can't get over the chemistry.
Please unbuckle your seatbelt. It's for your own safety.
Juror number 2. Now, who don't love a good old decent courtroom drama with some fun twists and turns? Suleiman's story. Street casted and shot like a documentary, it expertly chronicles the life of a refugee in Paris, navigating citizenship tests and Uber Eats deliveries. I think it's a very important movie for the modern world. La Chimera. You know, I did want to like this one a lot more, but I can't deny there's so much here, just both emotionally, visually, thematically. It's hard to resist, and Josh O'Connor is great, you know. It's just overall a very beautiful film. The Coffee Table. Horrifying and tense, this darkly comedic Spanish film might be one of the most stressful watches I had all year. I must warn though, it's not for the faint of heart. It does deal with some pretty fucked up subject matter, but wow, it stuck with me. Long Legs. It's the birthday girl. Okay, this was actually my favorite horror movie of the year. It was relentless, it was hopeless, it was unnerving. I wish it wrapped up a bit better, but maybe those expectations were too high considering this type of film. On a pure vibe basis alone, this film succeeds in the dread that it imbues in you. Micah and Nick slayed, by the way. Again, favorite horror of the year. Love Lies Bleeding. The best lesbian crime thriller of the year. My Old Ass. I admit I watched this one primarily for Aubrey Plaza, but ended up enjoying it more than I was expecting. Setting it in the beautiful cottage lands of Ontario appeals to me directly as a big Canadian Shield fan, and also gives the film a bit of a neighborly connection. I don't know, you know, coming of age film about moving to Toronto and sort of accepting your past self, it resonated with me. It resonated with me, that's all I can really say. No Other Land. Whew. Okay, this was probably the most harrowing film of the year, as well as the best documentary, chronicling the way that the state of Israel enables the illegal West Bank settlements and just the crimes against humanity happening there. You know, by the end of this film, you finish watching it and you just wanna fucking. But legally and politically, I can't say that on camera now, can I? I mean, in some ways, this is the most important film of the year. You know, considering everything going on over there. Yeah, I don't know. I just think everyone should watch this. The Girl with the Needle. This is a Danish movie set just after World War I, really dealing with just some of the more awful sides of humanity. It was deeply unnerving, some great performances. Thematically, it was pretty tight. It dealt a lot with the sort of darker sides of humanity, let's just say. It's based off a true story, which is horrifying. By the end of it, you are like starting to reassess your own values about this subject matter, mainly stuff like childcare, orphanages, the state's inability to like manage all of that. Queer.
Hey, are you queer?
Are you queer, son? Luca Guadagnino's second movie of the year was also his second best. An arresting performance by Daniel Craig and gorgeous cinematography bring this world to life, but its meandering pace becomes a hindrance by the end in my opinion. Check it out, but I feel like most of you are going to enjoy Luca's other movie this year. Hint hint. Sing Sing. I was enthralled from the moment it started to the end. Going to prison is something I fear more than death. The ways it deprives your humanity is just something I'm so scared of. It's a film about a bunch of prisoners in Sing Sing Penitentiary who, as part of their reform process or whatever, have this program where they can like direct and stage plays, sort of as a way to live out different lives while still being within prison, and the many masks that you have to wear both on stage and in prison to stay alive. Coleman Domingo, one of the best performances of the year, he just keeps knocking it out of the park. Beautifully shot, really pulls at the heartstrings. Check it out. Strange Darling. One of the better thrillers I've seen in a while, actually, thanks mostly to its non-sequential storytelling and beautiful cinematography. It was just a pleasure to watch and just tightly made overall. I think most people are gonna like this one. Plays a lot with your expectations and stuff, and has some nice dark humor thrown in there as well. Pretty good. The Apprentice. So this was like a Trump origin movie, with fantastic performances both by Jeremy Strong as Roy Cohn and Sebastian Stan as Donald Trump himself. I should really note Stan's performance here because he just doesn't fall into, the classic Trump impression like everyone's expecting, right? This is Trump, before all talking like this. It's not great, not a great award show. They're calling them the bad Academy Awards. That's what they're saying. Not like the Butryms. That's what, right? We love the Butryms. It also does this really fun thing with like the cameras that they use for each point of the story. Like every decade has its own camera that kind of reflects how that decade would have looked. Just stylistically really fun. I said, wow, the Butryms, so great. The guys who do. Saw this one at TIFF Midnight Madness as well, and it was probably my favorite. This film follows a Japanese punk band called the Gaizadu who are sent to a rural community by their label in the hope that they'll find inspiration for their next album. Very charming, very funny, very heartfelt. Some great original songs. I think this one has my favorite original song of the year. You should definitely check this one out. I have no idea when it's coming out. Again, this was a TIFF release. Maybe it's already out, but if you have a chance to watch it, please do. The Last Stop in Yuma County. Ooh, what a treat. So the setting of this is, it's a 1950s diner. Two robbers just pulled off a big money heist, and now they're sort of hiding out at the diner. More characters start coming in. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of flair to how this one was done. Some nice memorable shots. Whole cast of characters to keep things fresh and interesting. Just a lovely classic Western, man. Wonderful. The Substance, aka The Picture of Dorian Slay. This deeply pornographic satire, or maybe satirical porno at this point. Point is, this horny satire is as subtle as a Stinger missile to the face, but it still manages to camp its way to a great time. It goes all the way with its concepts, aided by some strong performances by both Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, who really understood the assignment on this one. And again, its messaging is just very obvious. It's very in your face, but I loved this one. It was really fun. I had a great time both times I watched it. Universal Language. Matthew Rankin, who directed The 20th Century, the Butryms 2020 movie of the year, did not hit the same highs as that film, but enough of his distinct vision comes through that it does carry the film, makes it a whole lot better. I thought 2024 was a better year for movies than most. I actually thought it was pretty fantastic, especially compared to the likes of 2023. But before I move on, I feel like I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the worst movies of the year for a minute. Because, oh boy, there were some real stinkers. So let us do our due diligence and talk about them for a second. How about that? Am I racist? This is grifter on grifter violence right here, man. These Daily Wire movies are all so fucking shit. Matt Walsh is not smart enough to understand how Borat works, and he's had like 20 years to figure it out. He's trying to set people up, but he's the one that looks like the fucking idiot here. They're all at least like entertaining him. It just sucks, man. It's awful. I would put this as the worst of the year, but believe me, there's something worse than this. Argyle. You know, when I said that I would let Dua Lipa do terrible things to me, I should have drawn the line at watching this film because it was awful. Argyle, more like R awful. Yeah, how about that? Borderlands. To quote what my roommate said the second the credits started rolling, that was bad. Man, that was awful. The only saving grace would have been a Randy Pitchford cameo as like a magician character, but they couldn't even do that. Amelia Perez.
From penis to vagina.
Penis to vagina. Holy shit, man. Like, you want to talk about Oscar bait movies? This is like the worst of its kind. This offended both trans people and Mexicans. It's fucking bad, man. I don't know how people actually watched this and tried to applaud it. It wasn't even so bad it was good. It was genuinely quite boring, actually. I just thought it was so melodramatic. The songs, man. Oh God, the songs sucked.
Control laryngoplasty.
What is that?
Adam's apple reduction.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes. Yeah, no. This awful movie. This was also going to be worst of the year, but again, there was something that was worse. Gunner. I think out of all the genres, bad action movies have to be like the worst, right? Like, if it's not good action, it's just boring and like poorly made, then there's not much to watch. I don't even remember anything about it. I just remember I was so bored. That's it. There's nothing memorable. There was no good moments. There was no good action scenes. It was just poorly crafted. Everyone totally phoned it in. Ugh. Ooh. Gunner, how about you put a gunner to my head so I don't have to watch this anymore, huh? Longing. Okay, this movie was batshit. A total gong show, if you will. First of all, as a native Hamiltonian, this movie is set in Hamilton. Now, Hamilton is always playing other cities in movies, yet for some reason here, they're going around to like other cities in southern Ontario filming there in place of Hamilton, which just pisses me off. It was just an insane level of filmmaking on display, and I mean that as a pejorative. No characters act like human beings at all, and the whole cast of them are like completely psychopathic. I just don't think a human being could make this movie. But, you know, you find out it's a remake of an Israeli movie by the same director. Maybe it was lost in translation, but I just feel like the material was never good enough to begin with. Why is there a giant Diane Kruger grinding on Delta High School as Richard Gere has a sex dream with his dead son he never met? This might actually be the So Bad It's Good movie. Like, so bad, it's just insane. Like, everyone should probably watch this. Like, just get a couple friends and watch this and just, you know, take a shot every time a character does something nonsensical or doesn't act like an actual human being would, and you'll probably be dead within the first 10 minutes. Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. This movie is like 20 minutes long without the slow-mo. Zack Snyder's Part 2 to this Rebel Moon, like, little series that he's doing is just as bad as the first one. I still put, like, the first one on, like, the worst movies of the year list from last year, and this one, like, earns its place here again. It's so dire. You know, I didn't even bother with the director's cut for these. Like, listen, I liked the Zack Snyder Justice League movie. Believe it or not, I did. You know, I thought it was enjoyable at some parts. But this is pathetic. Unoriginal, uninspired, boring. Just so boring. Just so unbelievably boring. It's just so derivative. Ugh. No, I'm done. I'm done, Snyder. You gotta make something good again. This is awful. Red 1. I actually think this movie was like completely AI generated, or at least like the making of it was AI generated. It's just the definition of like pure slop, you know, just soulless and very on par for Amazon Prime's original outputs. Just slop. Eat up your slop, kids. Every Sony superhero movie from last year, Madam Web, Venom: The Last Dance, Kraven the Hunter. Like, Sony went 0 for 3. Like, they batted horribly, dude. Like, just 3 up, 3 down. Like, it was pathetic. And you know, the funniest thing is that Madam Web might actually be, like, the best one out of all of these. Like, it got memed the most, and everyone, I think, kind of saw it, but, like, I sat through Kraven the Hunter, man. That one makes Morbius and Madam Web look like Citizen Kane. It's the type of film that makes like Horkheimer and Adorno spin in their gray for how hard the culture industry is like industrying. You know, like it's just bad. Madam Web, like, stupid, really bad, but like you can have fun. Kraven though, Kraven is just no, just stay away from Craven. Like that one, that might actually be like the worst Sony superhero movie in like their like villain cinematic universe, their Spider-Man villain cinematic universe. Venom 3 too, like just the worst Venom movie, which is saying something. But hopefully like this experiment of like Spider-Man-less Spider-Man villain movies that Sony is trying to like curate like a cinematic universe out of, hopefully it's done. Like how is this experiment still going? I think it's dead, but like now it's back. Like what the frick, dude? Ugh. Reagan. What a deeply stupid film. It's a batshit farce of history and common sense. This is the worst movie of the year, make no mistake about it. The ideological revisionism on display here rivals that of Griffith's Birth of a Nation. It's just a completely hagiographical look at Ronald Reagan, man, and it's just not great. Every performance was miscast and executed awfully. Lighting and staging amateur. Overall, just a technical crapshoot. It does actually show like a weird amount of sauce at one moment in like a montage where they're criticizing Reagan, which almost kind of feels like farcical at that point, like how ironic. But man, just like, I was just in like shock and awe the whole time about how awful this is. Like, avoid it. It sucks. Though watching this now in the context of like the death of America is wonderful. It's just like the perfect movie that like sums up America, right? Like a Christian funded movie about Reagan where it like completely sucks his dick the whole time. Just awesome. Fucking piece of shit. Okay. So here we are at the gold tier. These are the best movies of the year. Some of them could be movie of the year, some say. Even though I quite like 2024, it was kind of hard to pick out what the best movie of the year is, and I'm not sure if I entirely even agree with myself, but I'm pretty confident. I think I'm happy with it right now, actually. So, without further ado, let's jump into the gold tier. Anora. Sean Baker might be the most important American filmmaker of this generation. A carefully perceptive eye for the extraordinary within the ordinary. Baker's newest film, Anora, is a class tragedy, an examination into the story of a young exotic dancer in Brooklyn with a lust for luxury who stumbles into a whirlwind romance with a Russian economic heir. Like Baker's other films, it's an American fairy tale that highlights the uniqueness and absurdity of the social consciousness of the land of the free. Mikey Madison was fantastic. I mean, she won an Oscar for it, and I actually think it was pretty deserved. It was a slapstick adventure, and I had so much fun. I feel like I can kind of do like the Anora sort of. I can't fucking twerk, man. I can't twerk. Better Man. Okay, this was definitely my biggest surprise of the year. Considering I knew piss all about who Robbie Williams was other than like that one song Kids with Kylie Minogue. I became a fan by the end. He's got me singing all of his songs. So come on, let me entertain you. I mean, what can you say about this film? It's a music biopic, except instead of a human main character, he replaces himself with a monkey. A chimpanzee, to be specific. Yes, the whole movie does this story of Robbie Williams, except that he is a chimpanzee instead of a human. And I know what you're thinking. Rob, that sounds ridiculous. That sounds stupid. It kind of is, but it works completely. I think the rationale, from what I understand, with interviews with the director, was that, you know, seeing a guy do drugs and sort of be a shitty boyfriend, you know, that's whatever. But seeing a monkey do it, now that's kind of sad. And god damn it, he was right. I was so emotionally invested. All these other music biopics, I mean, like the Dylan movie, right? Like all of them wish they had an ounce of the amount of sauce as this one. It was just a complete pleasure to watch from start to finish. Well shot. The musical numbers are fantastic. Just really well choreographed, well directed, had a lot of kinetic energy to them. Like this to me is like a top tier music biopic. Like maybe the best I've ever seen. I don't know. And I also need to say, just in terms of the story itself and the sort of character arc of Robbie Williams, I mean, he doesn't shy away from how bad of a dude he was at some points. He also makes no reservations that, he's here for like creative, artistic integrity. No, he just wants to be famous. He wants to perform. He wants to be loved by millions. And you know what? As a guy named Rob, I can relate to that. Just like him, who also had, ambitions of being an entertainer, not really for the artistic integrity, but just to be loved by millions. We're pretty similar, except I don't have the success or anything like that. I mean, like 4 people watch this. It also has probably my favorite scene of the year, when he's at like the big show at the big festival, and it just turns into like this like huge action set piece where he's fighting all of his like past selves and like all of his insecurities all at once in this like huge battle. Just fucking epic, dude. Better Man? Certainly check it out. You'll be a better man for it.
And for the next 2 hours, your ass is mine!
Challengers. Okay, this is Luca's best of the year, and I feel like pretty much everyone's already seen it, but if you haven't, please check it out now. The editing and music paces this film better than Josh O'Connor paces my heart when he smirks at the camera. Which also, like, best soundtrack of the year, easily, man, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross were like at the top of their game with this one. It's just like it gets the energy going. It really makes you feel like you're in a tennis match the whole time. Especially the score near the climax, it just had me grinning from ear to ear. It's just some good old-fashioned movie making with killer editing, strong inter-character dynamics, and thrilling sequences. Also a host of really good performances, and I think Zendaya actually gives her best of her career here. Kind of knocked on her in some past projects. I find her kind of mixed and situational depending on what type of role she gets, but she really kills this one. And listen, while thematically there might not be the most here compared to Luca's previous films, it was so fucking tightly crafted that I couldn't help but fall in love with it. I also need to credit it with like making tennis become like cool and popular again and like helping to defeat the plague that is pickleball. Conclave. I am announcing my candidacy for the next pope. The Butryms have taken so long to do that joke is not even timely anymore. I mean, we've just elected a new pope and he's American, for Christ's sake. This film follows exactly what the title says. It's about the conclave of cardinals to elect a new pope, except what if all the cardinals were like catty divas? I did not care for Edward Berger's All Quiet on the Western Front from a few years ago, but I think that he definitely cooked here. Tackles issues like faith and greed and, the evolving nature and role of the church in the modern era. In terms of ensemble, it's probably hard to beat this one. Every actor here just rises to the occasion. I mean, they're all consummated professionals anyway. A lot of fun dialogue, especially the banter between the different cardinals. Also, the cinematography was really good as well. There's a lot of memorable shots and visual moments that I can recall. Even if you can still kind of guess which direction the story is going, I enjoyed the journey. Conclave was pretty great. Yeah, what can I say? I loved it. Dune, Part 2. So I was a bit hesitant on Dune 1 despite giving it a gold tier position all those years ago, but it seems to have paid off. Dune 2 is simply an epic vision. Denise's visual eye, brought to life by cinematographer Greg Fraser, paints Herbert's mythos as larger than life. The set design, the costumes, the action. This is like this generation's Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. I mean, hey, he's got me excited for Dune Part 3 or Dune Messiah or whatever it's gonna end up being. Timothy gives his best performance of the year here, and honestly most of the cast excelled as well, especially Austin Butler and Rebecca Ferguson. I honestly can't say more than, this was just simply epic. Epic in scope and design and execution and in vision. It makes for a great double feature to watch them both back to back, and really highlights that Dune 2 is just actually better than the first one in all regards. All that setup and slog from the first one pays off in dividends here. This is the type of grand blockbuster movie making that just really doesn't exist anymore in today's industry. Evil does not exist. Banality of neoliberal evil. This is Ryosuke Hamagashi's follow-up to Drive My Car from 2021, a great film in its own right. However, where Drive My Car felt a tad too long for its message, Evil Does Not Exist appears to me as his best I've seen yet, with a short runtime leaving a very lasting impact. Very focused, every decision felt purposeful. Largely cast from unprofessional actors, this film looks at a small rural Japanese village pitted against greedy developers essentially trying to put like a glamping ground right next to their village's water supply, and sort of like the fallout and reaction and like discourse that emerges from that. The film's exploration of the situation with its underlying ideology critically addressed presents a bleak world of structural apathy and decayed humanism. An ending that may divide some, but ultimately one that makes the audience critically sit with it. The film's themes left to be reflected on. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Freaky in all of the right ways, Miller brings us back to a demented Australian world we have all grown to love. Though I must admit, I don't believe it surpasses the lightning that was Fury Road. It does help to strengthen that film's emotional beats, making for one hell of a double feature for anyone who's yet to see both. Despite limited dialogue from the titular character, Anya Taylor-Joy gives her most interesting performance with this one, emulating Charlize Theron believably and arresting the viewer using mostly her huge eyes to convey her pain and rage. But it is Chris Hemsworth as Dementis who steals the show as the psychotic villain, deranged beyond repair, leading a biker gang which terrorizes the wasteland. As a director, George Miller's vision manifests perhaps clearer here than ever, using his acute dialect of visual language to translate this lore into a spectacle of images both striking and whimsical. It truly strengthens the Mad Max mythos, adding an epic chapter to the oeuvre of the series, and Miller's continued appraisal on the power of storytelling elevates this to among the best of the year. And don't worry, this is a Mad Max movie after all, so there's some pretty awesome car action. Or as Praetorian Jack says, the ways of road war.
I'll teach you everything you need to know about road war.
Hundreds of beavers. Now this is just some good old-fashioned filmmaking on display here. Wow. This is actually like a cartoon brought to life. It's a black and white silent film that brings the slapstick gags of that era into the material form. Hundreds of Beavers is probably the most fun I had watching a movie this year. I think most people will love this one as it is bustling with charm, using countless visual gags, adherence to the static shot form, and even some inspiration from video games. I don't even really know how to like explain the plot of this. It pretty much just follows a guy who gets stuck in the middle of the wilderness, has his like home and business burned down. He just has to start going around killing beavers. But like every animal in this movie is like a person in a fursuit. So it's so humorous, it's so charming. Like they really stuck to the bit here and it's awesome. There's so many setups throughout the movie and that they all pay off wonderfully. I had to wait like 2 years to finally watch this one because the release was just taking forever and, you know, sort of bouncing from theater to theater across the US. But boy, was it worth the wait. I mean, like I said, and I'll reiterate it because it's true. This is just good old-fashioned filmmaking. Like this is a type of movie, especially in American cinema, you just don't see anymore. I saw the TV glow. It's a fresh take on the process of becoming for trans individuals. The film's neon-soaked images and dark shadows carry a sense of impending dread like no other film this year. Stylistically rich, the film's cinematography and soundtrack evoke the pain in our protagonist, wonderfully played by Justice Smith. Its dreamlike, or maybe better yet nightmarish, take on growth and regret struck me, with some genuinely distressing sequences and analog horror moments leaving many shots and moments that are clear in my head as when I first watched it. Its existence within trans cinema makes Emilia Perez all the more appalling. It also has a horrifying ending that leaves the viewer stunned. Probably my favorite ending of the year. Yeah, let's go with that. I was not expecting to love this one as much, but it's just so well made. It's so tonally unique. It's just a wonderful journey and a character study and this sort of coming of age, if you will, but more of like becoming a person, letting it out. I mean, like I said, I don't really do rankings like within the gold, but you know how like every family has a favorite child or a child they prefer more. Out of the gold tier of 2024, this one is one of my more preferred ones, let's say. Nosferatu.
You must bounce on it. A freaky style. Robert Eggers, you son of a bitch, you did it again. Listen, I am an Eggers defender, and when this was announced, I felt it was a match made in my dreams, especially as a childhood fan of the Dracula.
Okay, we're done with the fake teeth. Especially as a childhood fan of the Dracula mythos and enjoyer of nearly all adaptations of this story that I have seen, it sounded like a match made in heaven when they announced Eggers was poised to remake Nosferatu. Now, when making a movie in a tradition of this story which contains names like Monroe, Herzog, and Coppola, telling it in a new way seems like a Herculean task. But I think Eggers' naturalistic vision and eye for historical authenticity gives it an eerily realistic flair. I found the psychoerotic themes presented quite clear here, and upon a rewatch I realized I liked it even more. In terms of performances, Lily Rose Depp gives a powerhouse one here, absolving her involvement with that weekend show The Idol. And Bill Skarsgård disappeared into the role with a grueling voice change and makeup makeover, bringing weight and believability to this vampire. He even has a mustache like me. The rest of the cast was also pretty great, with stylish and poetic period-authentic dialogue bringing a heap of emotional and dramatic weight to the old story. Though this is Eggers' most commercial film yet, there's enough of his sauce here to still make it one of my favorites of the year. Honestly, I just love Nosferatu. I even got the popcorn bucket, which I normally don't get, but check it out, it's his coffin. Inside is where I store my weed.
Wait! If that was you on the phone and you on the bus, then who was flickering the lights? Nosferatu!
The Beast. Dang wig messed up my hair. Still looks better than that awful haircut I had last year. A generation-spanning story on love, The Beast loosely adapts Henry James's 1903 novella, The Beast in the Jungle. Its plot blends past, present, and future problems into one effervescent moment of love and fate, but under the strains of tradition, incels, and AI. Léa Seydoux and George McKay pair together well on screen, playing differing versions of the same characters across these temporal rifts, each with their own reflections of their present conditions.
I don't know why you girls are so repulsed by me. It doesn't make sense. These sunglasses here were $300. Look how fabulous I look.
So I need to laud each of these performances on their versatilities and subtleties that they exhibit. Changes in time come along with tonal changes, balancing science fiction, romance, and thriller beats, brought artistically together by director Bertrand Bonello. And despite its almost 2.5-hour runtime, I was on board with it throughout. It does do a weird QR code thing during the credits that takes you to a video online of the post-credit scene, and despite the metatextual merits of that choice, I think it would have been better if it remained in the film itself. Overall, beautifully shot and crafted, and very touching performances, though I have to knock 1 point off of it for including Dasha. The Brutalist. To round off the gold tier and keeping to theme, this one is simply an American epic. Spanning the life of a Hungarian Jewish immigrant in the land of opportunity, The Brutalist confronts the horrors of the Holocaust, the reality of the American dream, and the control of art on a scale rarely seen in modern American filmmaking. The 35mm VistaVision it was shot on powerfully showcases the American vistas and architectural marvels that our story takes place in, making full use of the language of cinema. Director Brady Corbet's vision comes through here, and I respect how great the film is presented on such a tiny budget. This is probably also aided by masterclass performances by both Adrian Brody and Guy Pearce specifically, though the rest of the cast is fantastic as well. It is a long one, I mean it's like 3.5 hours, and so the intermission in the middle was very much appreciated. And I think that the second half doesn't hold up as well as the first half, but there's still a lot of great moments in that second half. The ending is also kind of a bit muddied with its messaging, but overall The Brutalist is just incredible. The runtime might detract some, but trust me, it's worth it. I mean, call me a sucker for 35mm, man, but this is the best cinematography of the year. This looks and feels like a film, especially one from like a bygone era. Seems to be a recurring theme this year that maybe the movies that you don't see made anymore are starting to be made again. Maybe there's some hope there. And so we've reached the end point. Before we jump into the best, there is one movie that let's just say is unrankable. I have hummed and hawed if this is either one of the worst movies of the year or very possibly the best movie of the year and one of the best of the decade. And I think a lot of you guys could probably guess which one this was, but yeah, Megalopolis. So just to catch you guys up on this one, the backstory is Francis Ford Coppola, you know, director of The Godfather, Godfather Part 2, and probably my personal favorite film, Apocalypse Now. He self-funded this one with his own fortune to make this fucking bizarre film that is the schizophrenic ramblings of an insane man.
Well, I want to learn.
And you think 1 year of medical school entitles you to plow through the riches of my Emersonian mind?
But damn if it's not interesting to just see like the unrestrained mind of Coppola at work here. Now, is it bad? This is what I'll say. I have not seen anything like it, and you probably will never see anything like it again. That's probably the greatest praise I can bestow upon it. I don't know. It's either gold tier or worst of the year. As far as art goes, Megalopolis confronts us with a puzzling vision of an ahistorical conjuncture that Coppola conjures phantoms with. Megalopolis, a Greek nomenclature, succeeds New Rome. The institutional baggage and corruption of the decayed Roman Republic gives way a series of happenstance moments. A figure emerges that battles Fortuna to usher in a new epoch, a novel Greco-democratic envisioning of politics as a process brought about through material transformation. A fantasy or delusion? What does it mean? It's Coppola's mess, his attempt to reify a moment, or a historical series of moments, presents a lesson in the navigation of chance and all its Machiavellian essence. Time marches upon, but can be frozen with a Bedouin puncture of knowledge that presents a new possibility. Creation of new knowledge comes with fear, a fear of the unknown chance. Megalopolis is creation, and like the fear of creation, it is hard to appraise it, for it is idiosyncratic in its delivery. It punctures knowledge itself. The world cannot dare to dream. I mean, either that or it's just a fucking piece of shit. Here we are, folks. The arrival of the best film is imminent. It's time to reveal the 2024 Best Picture. That is the Best Picture for the 9th Annual Butryms Awards. So, without further ado, A Different Man. Now, this is probably the most low-key film I've ever awarded Best Picture, but I've watched it twice and I just can't get it out of my head. I just loved every second of it. It also, by effect, becomes my favorite comedy of the year. The plot of it is about a man with a sort of facial disfigurement, a deformity, if you will. He gets the chance of a lifetime to access this cutting-edge technology, this cutting-edge procedure to completely transform his face and make him handsome like Sebastian Stan. However, once he gets the surgery, he might find that the life he left behind might have been better than he realized.
God damn it.
I just don't know how to explain it. Like, straight up, this is the one film on here I didn't even write like a script or a blurb for. I just have so many ideas about it going on in my head all at once. It's so metatextual. There's so many like levels of like commentary and satire here. Like, part of the plot is that like there's a play about his life being done by this like his old neighbor, and then it starts presenting all these like metatextual commentaries on the film itself and like the role of like who should you cast as someone with a disfigurement. Which, shout out to Adam Pearson. Last time I saw him in a movie was Under the Skin. I think that was like the first movie he acted in, and he just comes out again here, and he's just a revelation here. This guy almost steals the show. Though, Sebastian Stan, I gotta say, probably my favorite performance top to bottom. On one hand, you feel sad for him. On the other hand, you kind of are annoyed by him. He balances this well-rounded character and brings him to life in such a fantastic way. Director Aaron Skimberg just knocks it out of the park with this one. The score was excellent. The cinematography was excellent. Really everything technical about this was just so fine-tuned. Every scene was great. And it's just a wonderful encapsulation of everything that I like about film. I could talk about this one like for a while. Anyone who watches it, feel free to like reach out to me and we can discuss it, because, you know, I hope you love it as much as I do. This is my favorite movie of the year. That's it. That's my favorite film of the year. Thank you, everyone, for 9 years. Can't believe it's been this long. And the unfortunate news, maybe, that I should clarify is I do plan on stopping this next year. It's quite a lot of work. As you can tell, this has been delayed by months and months and months. Trying to just watch everything, cram it in. And I still watched less movies than I did last year, not even 130, which is kind of pathetic. I do enjoy doing this to some degree. I mean, maybe I'll see how long I can continue it, or you know, bring it down to a smaller scale. But yeah. That being said, thank you so much for watching. I love you.